Prevention and Education Lead with the National Water Fóram. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Fóram tonight, as well as give you some information on our education resources that we have all available on our website. So I'd be very happy for any of you to download these and use them and share them with schools in your areas. So the Water Fóram is a statutory body set up by in law in the 2017 Water Services Act. And we are a stakeholder body, so we have representation from 16 different sectors, 27 members. And our role is to advise the government on water policy. So we are asked to advise on water and wastewater services, the implementation of the Water Framework Directive, and rural water services. So it's a big role, but we are a part of water governance in Ireland. So this is, on the right-hand side, is a figure from our latest Water Action Plan, 2024 to 2027. It's not very clear, but we're up here on the top left-hand corner. So we're the stakeholder body, and we advise the Water Policy Advisory Committee, which are the people who are responsible for the implementation of the Water Action Plan. We also engage down at the bottom here with stakeholders, because we are the stakeholder voice contributing advice, and we kind of monitor the implementation of the River Basin Management Plan, keep an eye that it's delivering on what it is meant to be delivering on. So that's part of our role. So our statutory function, as laid out in law, is to advise the Minister on water issues, to advise the Water Policy Advisory Committee on the implementation of the Water Action Plan and the Water Framework Directive, and to advise the CRU and Uisce in relation to water services. So that's drinking water services and wastewater services. Our positions and advice are based on research. So we carry out research so that to make sure that our advice is based on the latest science and data. We also bring in all the agencies will advise us as well, like the EPA and the Department of Agriculture. Different experts come in. We have academics as well, and they'll give us their positions or recommendations from their research and their knowledge. So we discuss the findings and the information that we receive, and we come to an agreed position of the Fóram on particular issues. So we communicate those positions through the media, through our website, with stakeholders, with agencies, and of course with the department as well, different departments. So one of our objectives in our work programme is actually to promote awareness and education on the value of water and the threats to water. So these education resources were developed as part of that to deliver on that particular objective of the Fóram. But we also host conferences and workshops. You know, we've had 2 workshops in the last few years on water conservation. This picture at the top here is our conference that we had last November, which looked at managing water in a time of climate change. So we had a good turnout at that. It was well attended and a very good day. In the middle there, we have fact sheets. So we prepare fact sheets on specific topics, because it's difficult to get information on water in, if you want to put it, find something quickly, it's really it's difficult. So we prepare these for agencies, we share them with schools and things like that as well, and libraries and all of that. So we have 5 fact sheets, one on the Water Framework Directive, the River Basin Management Plan, how water is managed in Ireland, who is responsible for what, water services, so that's all about wastewater and drinking water services provided by Uisce and the group water schemes. And then we have our last one that we did was marine waters. So there's a lot has changed in the way our marine waters are managed in the last few years. So we have a fact sheet, only 2 or 3 pages with the key information on that. We also produce infographics, explainers for the media. We do research summaries, and we have press releases and a quarterly newsletter, which you can sign up for on the homepage of our website. Anybody's welcome to sign up for that. That's issued every quarter. So this is the resources that I have developed for primary schools. So it's called Learn About Water. We go to the BT Young Scientist every year, and this year we were at ASB Science Blast for the first time. They're both in the RDS, and like there's tons of schools attend and teachers and all of the rest. So I had developed this to share with them. Really, it's an introduction to water, because when you look at the curriculum, there's an awful lot covered in the curriculum, you know, about rivers, how rivers are formed and all of that. But we tend to forget to talk about water and water quality. You know, you look at the science of water, the molecules and all of that, but in the curriculum, there's not a lot of emphasis on how water is polluted, who pollutes it, how do you fix it, all of that kind of thing. So these here are just kind of ways to engage young people, and it's geared at primary schools. So it was resources that were available out there, with different government bodies actually had developed them all. And so they're all funded by the taxpayer. They're all available free, but teachers are not aware of them. So I made this little, just a leaflet to hand out at the BT Young Scientist. And it's like just easy lessons to introduce the topic of water, to get children talking about water and thinking about water. So the first one, lesson number 1 there, is an introduction to the water cycle. So that's just a little PDF that they can download, and there's little prompts to help them, you know, the different parts of the water cycle, and it explains the water cycle. So it's just a little learning tool that they can use. Teachers can download it and print it out, or children can complete it online. So the second one there is Learn About a River Catchment. So that's developed by LAWPRO, and it's just a 3-minute animated video that explains what a river catchment is. The third lesson then looks at water quality. So that was done by a project in Europe, and it is a beautiful little video of children jumping into a river and talking about the water quality in the river and how that impacts the fish and the species in the river, and then the you know, how development and all of that can change the course of the river and deplete, you know, the water quality within the river. So it's a nice visual engagement for teachers and children to talk about. The second little video there is one that we did for National Science Week a few years ago, and it's actually a kick sample. So Suzanne Lenan, who's another member of the Fóram, is out in the river and she's taking a sample, and then they talk about the bugs in the water that indicate clean water and things like that. So you see the bugs crawling around the little white basins. So it's a nice way, again, of engaging children in the topic and getting them to consider what's in the river, you know, what's alive in there, you know. So we have this one here, which is a bit longer. Number 4 there is Learn About Water Services. So this is Irish Water's video, The Story of Water. So it's about 45 minutes, but it explains, you know, what they do, their work, their role in providing drinking water and wastewater services in Ireland. So again, a very engaging, interesting video, you know, and one that might not actually reach schools if you didn't hand it to the teacher and say, look, this is something you could do in the class if you have a half an hour free or whatever, you know. The last one then, again, is one that we developed ourselves. It's a little 3-minute animated video, and it's about what actions we can take to protect water. So again, it gives young people an option, you know, they can decide what can you do. You know, it's like very, very simple things, like turn off the tap when you're brushing your teeth, or use less products, you know, use less shampoo, all of that kind of thing, to get them thinking that whenever we use water, we're polluting water. So the minimum amount of water we use reduces pollution, and then the minimum amount of product we use reduces pollution. Very, very simple messages, and targeted at all age groups, really. So that's the one that we share for primary schools. And Saturday is World Water Day this year. So I have sent this actually to the 3,048 or something like that primary schools across the country. I did that today, so that maybe some of them will do these lessons tomorrow, just before World Water Day. So in 2023, we decided, you know, again, we reviewed the curriculum to see what was happening, and we had a workshop on water conservation and all of that. And we had some academics from Mary I at that, and that's University of Limerick, and a teacher training college down there. And they were saying, you know, there's a new Leaving Cert subject, climate action and sustainability, and if we could develop some resources that could feed into that. It would be very, very useful. So we decided we would do try and develop modules on topics, water topics, for transition year, you know, that it would be a whole course that could be done at transition year if you know, the teachers were willing. So we sent that out to tender, and Mary I actually won the tender along with Meg Rivers Trust. So they developed 4 modules for us on different topics that could be taught at transition year, but equally it addresses curriculum requirements in geography, SPHE, science, biology, chemistry, agricultural science, and of course the new Leave Insert subject, climate action and sustainability. So it targets all of those, and parts of it could be used as a classroom-based assessment at junior cert as well as, and a lot of it will feed into Leave Insert. So a very, very useful, engaging kind of resource. So I'll take you through that now and let you see it. But it can be adopted for, as I say, there are classroom-based assessments for junior cycle, because that's a new thing in junior cycle, and a lot of teachers are looking for projects and things like that that students can do. And yeah, so I'll show you now as I go through this. This is the first module. It's called Global Impacts of Climate Change. So I'll just skip on to the next one, because if you want to have a look at these resources, they're downloadable from our website. They're also on skullnet.ie, which is a website teachers use for resources. But if you go to the waterforum.ie, on the home page, you'll find education and awareness resources, and down there, there's the school module. So if you click on these, that'll take you into this particular module. So you can actually look at this as I'm talking about it. I'll go back up. This is the first module that we developed. It's the global impacts of how we use water. So there's like 5 lessons, 5 lessons in this. The first one is an introduction to water. Why is it important? That kind of thing. Then we talk about the water cycle. We talk about how to calculate a water footprint and explain what a water footprint is. And then the Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is all related to water and making sure that everybody in the globe has access to clean water and sanitation. And then lesson 5 is about sustainable development and the impact of consumerism on water across the globe. Like when we buy a t-shirt, it's made in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh doesn't have much water. So we are virtually taking their water from them in that t-shirt. So I suppose it's to get young people thinking about, you know, what they buy and where it comes from. So each of the there's 2 parts in every module. We have a teacher's resource and we have a student resource. So the teacher's resource here, that's the lessons. This is an example of it, and you can download it, the teacher resource, yourself there at our website and have a look as we go through this. So each module has an introduction. It talks about the subjects that's covered and what the students will learn in the particular module. So this is the way the lessons, all of the lessons are formatted in the same way. So you have an introduction and engagement activity at the beginning of the lesson. So that's maybe about 10 minutes. You have an exploration of the topic. So you go into more detail on the particular topic that you're discussing. So with all of these, we have slides. So as you can see here in the exploration there, we have like 12 slides for that particular part of the lesson. And the slides are all here. They're downloadable, and you can click into them so the teachers can change them or amend them or cut things out if they want to, or add something new if they want to. So all of that is available for the teacher to use as they wish themselves. So there's activities involved in this as well, and I'll show you a little bit more about that, because there's a student workbook so that they have a record of everything that they do. So here's another activity. Consider how you feel if you didn't have enough water. Like, I mean, how would that impact your life? So it's to try and develop empathy and value for water. So, and then there's an elaboration activity, which could be a homework activity either, and there's an assessment activity, and then links to further resources. So the teacher, after each lesson, there's the PowerPoint presentation, and then there's the link to the actual PowerPoint presentation that they download. This is module 2, so 2, and this one's looking at digital maps. So this is from catchments.ie website, And the EPA have provided these digital maps so anybody can get online to catchments.ie, and maybe you all know about this already, I'm not sure, but you can get on there and find your local water course, find out, the water quality in your local water course. You can find the local school, you can find the local town, you can find where the wastewater treatment plant is, all of that, where your water source is. All of that information is available on this EPA website. So this module introduces the resource that's there, and it walks the students through finding their local river, finding out about the water quality in their local river, and finding out about their local wastewater treatment plant. Is it up to scratch? They can even write out or create a report on their local wastewater treatment plant. So they're talked all the way through that in this student workbook, and then they have a record of what they have learned. So it's a very, very useful activity, and I've had teachers have been telling me that it's great because students love to be able to get in and to explore and to do this sort of, it's self-directed learning. So they were telling me that it is a lesson that students really like. So here it is here. This is the student workbook. As you can see, it's less I suppose it's more user-friendly for the student. It's more there's more pictures in it, all of that kind of thing. And these are the actions that the students will follow to find out their local water quality and all of that. So this is what the student's workbook looks like. But at the end of the lesson or the module, the student will have the workbook as a record of their learning. So they will always have that. Module 3 looks at freshwater biodiversity and habitats. Now this again is a very nice module, but it will probably be definitely for maybe, transition year or Leaving Cert students. So freshwater biodiversity and habitats learn about rivers and the life that they support. So river habitats, food chains, all of that, invertebrates that you find in the water and how they are indicators for water quality. There's a case study on the Atlantic salmon, and then there's a little bit of a digital activity again around invasive alien species, how you can see them in on maps and Google Earth. You can use Google Earth to see where the infestations are of giant hogweed and things like that. So there's a little activity like that for the students to do in that lesson. The last lesson is water quality and pollution, which of course is the heavy hitting one. So that talks about ecological status of water and what is organic pollution in rivers and lakes, what's nutrient pollution, the toxic and other pollutions, and then how to report water pollution incident. And there's a little bit of role play around that. So in this, there's different learning styles are catered to, there's some maths activities, there's some, scientific equation activities. So they're kind of developing skills, quite a lot of skills throughout these modules if they complete them all, and there's some, role play which children have to actually talk and take on a role and, present information, all of that kind of thing. So that's all being considered in the development of these modules. So that's our final one. So I suppose how we've been getting these out to school so far, we've been going, we always do something at National Science Week to promote these resources, or we do have podcasts and things like that as well on different topics. So anything to try and get the message out, it's extremely difficult. So, but we try every which way we can. We have the BT Young Scientists Festival, we go to that and we sponsor a water award at that. And whenever we started, first, there were something like 7 projects on water, and this year there was nearly 30 projects on water. So, and we've only been there, this is our 3rd year. So there is more attention being given to water because we have the water award. So that's what we're hoping to improve on that. Out of 500 to have 30, well, I think it was something like 28 projects. That's not too bad. And we have come a long way, I suppose, from starting with 7, So World Water Day, I sent out all of these resources, the Learn About Water resources to primary schools today. So hopefully now some of them will use it. I've asked them to give me feedback, but we'll see about that. Invasive Species Week is usually in May, so we like to do something then as well. So it's kind of our activities are across the calendar, So we do the podcasts. We have done a few videos as well. There's one with Minister Noonan talking about the River Basin Management Plan. And we have the webinars and conference. We have had a webinar every year. You know, it started, we had a conference planned for the 20th of March in 2020, of course, was cancelled 10 days before because of COVID. So we actually moved that online, and we had that online in December then that year. So we've had three webinars and 2 conferences. So, and all of the information that we have is available on our website, downloadable for free. And we also have a quarterly newsletter, and you can sign up, as I said, for that on our homepage on the website. So all our conference videos and all of that kind of thing are available on our YouTube channel as well. So you can go onto that and find all of the presentations, and all of these resources are on YouTube too. So that's it. That's it for me. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Blue Sky and LinkedIn. So yeah, we're trying about every which way, but I still don't know that the message is getting out. We had I'll stop presenting. I was at a conference yesterday. DCU Water Institute had done a video, the Brave Blue World.